Hey everyone, sorry if this video took a while to make. This video was in development hell, if you will. This is a video I've been wanting to make for a long time, and now it's finally out. And right now, I'll just say, SMG4 fans, even if I don't like modern SMG4 anymore, I'll admit he is way better than the topic we're going to be talking about today. Sonic Forces. I feel like I hate this game more than anyone. You do not know how much this game angers me. I played this game on Discord, and sorry if you missed that. You should have just joined my Discord chat. And during those few days when I played the game, I hated it. Even if the game was super short, I felt like some parts of the game were just absolutely awful to play. So I'm gonna be splitting this video into parts. The first part is talking about my overall experience with the game, and the second part will be actually reviewing the game. Now, without further ado, let's go into a deep hatred analysis of Sonic Forces.
I am not weak!
Before we get to the main game, we're going to be talking about Episode Shadow first, because that's what I decided to play first. Episode Shadow is essentially a prequel to this game. The game opens up with Shadow and Rouge getting a task from, I don't know, to go find out what is causing destruction in the city. And the first level actually wasn't too bad. I mean, it's not great, but for what it was alright. The Westopolis remix was pretty cool. I thought the level design was pretty decent. It wasn't too short. I overall had a good time with this. The second level was absolutely awful. It takes place 6 months ago, and it has a cutscene which we will discuss later. But the level before that cutscene is just mostly sliding with really finicky sliding controls, and it made me give up trying to S-rank the entire game, and I just wanted to get it over with because I had other things going on in life and I really wanted to get this game over with. So after I beat that, funny cutscene happens, and then we move on to the last level of Episode Shadow, which is just green hell, but with a bunch of random out of place stuff like these metal structures and these red cubes that circle all over the place. And Infinite is pretending to be Rouge and trying to guide him into the red cubes and essentially just mess with his head. Meanwhile, Omega is trying to fight something, and then he gets destroyed, although we don't actually get to see it. We just know later in the game. This level was okay. It went on for a decent amount of time, although I think some of the platforming was a little unfair, but that was probably just due to how Sonic Forces controls, which, don't worry, we will talk about. Then after that, Infinite escapes, and then Shadow gives chase after him, and then the actual game begins.
I am not weak!
It starts off with a cutscene of Eggman saying he hates Sonic. Yeah, this game is that uncreative, just roll along with it. And we admittedly get this actually really good line from Orbot.
The boss means business this time.
I mean, this is proven to be untrue later on in the game, but hey, it convinced me, considering Orbot treated Eggman as nothing as a joke for the past decade, ever since Unleashed. Then we get to the first level, which was just boosting and introduce you to Sonic's gameplay. It really wasn't all that amazing, much like the rest of the levels in this game, which, don't worry, I will talk about later. Then we get a cutscene of Tails cowering from a bunch of egg prawns, and then Sonic comes in to help him out. Shadow comes in and beats Sonic up along with Zavok, Metal Sonic, and Chaos. I don't know why Zavok and Metal are here. Why couldn't we get a boss fight with Chaos? Also, fun fact, did you know that Mephiles was gonna be one of the 5 Phantom Ruby illusions, but then it was shrink down to 4. Yeah, Mephiles was scrapped. I mean, they won't put any 06 representation in here. This will be absolutely fine. They just wanted to ignore 06. Yes, Generations had that, but that was an anniversary game. It's fine, as long as they don't bring any other character back from 06. So then Sonic tries to beat all the characters, but then loses, and everyone, including the player, assumes that he's now dead. Meanwhile, we have the Resistance, which contains the Chaotix, Amy, and so wait, what? Silver's here? Why is he here? According to the comics, it's because his future was screwed up. Then why didn't Infinite bring Mephiles back? These guys shouldn't know who Silver is, so why isn't Mephiles here? That would have been cool. A way better pick than Zavok. You know, fine, whatever, as long as Silver will actually get to do something. So the Resistance has been in hiding for 6 months, just desperately waiting for a miracle, but they have to make their own miracle, as SBO puts it. So yeah, the Resistance has been doing nothing for 6 months. And then we get to the main gimmick and the biggest flaw with this game. The character creator. I decided to make Needle Mouse because I hate her, and I wanted to put her in this trash game where she rightfully belongs. So yeah, Knuckles comes back and it's revealed that he's the commander of the Resistance, and he recently recruited Needle Mouse to join the Resistance. And yes, I'm going to be calling the avatar Needle Mouse for the rest of this. Everyone else thinks that Needle Mouse isn't much, but Knuckles says otherwise and gives Needle Mouse the Wisp-On, which is a weapon that allows Needle Mouse to use different wisps, hence starting the 2nd level, which introduces us to Needle Mouse's gameplay. It was another boring level that introduces to us. Let's just move on to level 3. Level 3 starts with this infamous cutscene of Tails cowering at Chaos and Classic Sonic showing it up and beating him up. So yeah, no Chaos boss battle, and don't worry, we'll come back to this cutscene a little bit later. So Classic Sonic's here, and then Tails goes out with them, and then we head to level 3, in which, now that we're introduced to all 3 characters, Sonic, Needle Mouse, and Classic Sonic, I'd say out of all of them, Classic Sonic was the best, which was weird because many people say that he's the worst out of the trio, but I don't know, I guess I just found him fun. Isn't my bias for Sonic 3 and Knuckles? I mean, that really can't be it. I mean, don't get me wrong, he was still awful, but hey, I would rather play as him than the other 2 choices. Now let's move on to the actual levels, now that we're done with the tutorial levels. We then get this cutscene of how Needle Mouse and Infinite first met. Basically, Needle Mouse is traumatized by Infinite, and Needle Mouse just wants revenge on him. So then we head to level 4, and again, it was a super easy level. Yeah, so far I've been having nothing to talk about this game, but Zavok was one of the worst parts of the game. So basically, Sonic has been locked up in the Death Egg for months and has not been tortured, and now he has to fight Zavok. Zavok flies around in this giant bee, and you gotta wait till he ground pounds, and so that'll make Sonic jumping homing attack him. The problem is, even if I was super close to him, my shots just would not work. I had to get like to the top left or top right of where he was ground pounding, and that was like really stupid. I shouldn't be able to do that. I should be able to homing attack him just fine. But once I got the pattern down, I was able to beat him. But it took me like 10 minutes for me to figure that out. I hated this boss. Level 6 is the beginning of secret exits not working sometimes. See, there's a secret exit right here, but sometimes my homing attack wouldn't land on the badniks or whatever I needed a homing attack on, and then I would just fall and die, even though the radical for the homing attack would show up. I don't know why that was, but whatever it was a problem. Arsenal Pyramid is the first partner level, and it introduces the double boost meme. Yeah, remember that? Kind of felt nostalgic for that meme, but considering how awful Sonic Forces is, I can't look at that meme the same way again. This one actually has a cool idea of where you can play as two characters, but for one, you're essentially playing as the exact same character, and two, this level is just double boost and then use the lightning wisp, and that's it. That's the whole level. Yeah, this level has nothing to offer. Luminous Force. This level is notorious for being, well, this. Yes, that's the whole level. You basically just let the game play itself. Now it's time to move on to the first infinite boss battle. The cutscene before the boss fight is Infinite battling Silver, in which Silver does get this admittedly great line.
Does anyone but you believe your lies?
I'll talk more about this line later once I get to the positives. So Sonic tries to help him out, and so he fights Infinite, and then Silver just gives up. And we get this admittedly pretty decent boss battle. His attacks were fair, it had a unique gimmick. It was overall a pretty alright boss. Time for Green Hill and its worst music!
You've got to find Eggman quick. Let's see.
I am so sorry for your ears. So then, after beating Green Hill, again, classic Sonic and Tails find Eggman and Infinite discussing their plans. Classic Sonic comes to interfere, and so we begin a boss battle of which you can literally just not get hit at all if you know what you're doing. And look, it's the first boss from Sonic 1. Oh look, it's the Egg Dragoon. Remember that? Okay, on to the next level, Park Avenue. There's really not much going on in this level. So then we make it to level 13, which is just classic Sonic but Casino again. And then we make it to Aqua Lake. Again, there's not much to discuss here. And so then Tails meets up with Needle Mouse, and Tails is happy to see that his friend is still alive, and we get this great pun.
It's been generations since I seen you. You okay?
And Tails tells everyone that Eggman has a plan to wipe them all out in 3 days. Where have I heard this before? And oh, what do you know? We're already halfway through the game. So then we make it to Sunset Heights. This level's also notorious because this was the level in the pre-release that everyone got to play, and it offered nothing, and everyone thought it was the tutorial level, when in reality it's the halfway point of the entire game. So then Sonic gets to Shadow, in which the fake Shadow tries to beat him up, but then the real Shadow comes and then beats them up, and then tells everyone about the Phantom Ruby, of how it can feed false information to the brain, essentially just making them feel something that's not really there. Please do not ask questions, this makes no sense at all. I'll discuss this more once we get to the plot. So Knuckles finally puts his plan into action, which don't worry, we will discuss later. And hence starts the next level, Metropolis, but with Needle Mouse, in which Infinite and Needle Mouse then fight, and Sonic gives some inspirational words, or more so, Sonic in Needle Mouse's head, and Infinite recognizes Needle Mouse from before and so attempts to kill her, but thanks to the Phantom Ruby prototype, Needle Mouse is able to survive. So then Classic Sonic goes to Chemical Plant, cool. Then we get another partner level, or more so a partner boss with a fight against Metal Sonic, which is fine, I guess. It's a little repetitive, but at least it has more going for it. So then Classic Sonic goes into Death Egg while Needle Mouse takes care of this robot in Green Hill, and Sonic goes to Chemical Plant. I think you're all starting to notice a pattern here, which, don't worry, I will talk about later. So the Resistance finally decide it's time for all of this to finally end, so they go to Metropolis, fight Eggman, and end his plans, on which Infinite reveals his newest and greatest power, Null Space. Null Space is a realm of where nothing exists, a path of where you just walk forever. All you can do is just run along the path and find nothing. There is no escape. All you can do is just run. Trapped here forever. Whatever goes in never goes out. And Sonic and Needle Mouse get stuck in Null Space, only for them to boost out and therefore proving Null Space useless. But despite the underwhelming factor that is Null Space, I quite like this level. I like the music, I had to use my brain for it. It was overall pretty nice. So then Sonic, Needle Mouse, and everyone else finally go to confront Eggman at Imperial Tower to finally end this horrible game. So then we get this laughable war scene of where everyone just does one thing. Yep, this was all the build-up it was all leading to, this lame war scene. So then Infinite unleashes the sun, which was Eggman's grand plan. And now everyone's gonna die until Needle Mouse decides to step into action, because according to Tails, Needle Mouse's courage triggered the Phantom Ruby prototype. Can't Sonic or even Classic Sonic trigger it? Why does it have to be Needle Mouse? So then we get to finally a level I can actually talk about. Imperial Tower, but Needle Mouse. This was one of the worst ones. Yes, some levels are short, but I feel like this one just went on forever, and it was me doing the same thing over and over, and with me having to do precise platforming, and it was just a not fun level. I hated it. I spent like 10 minutes on here. Did I forget to mention there was no life system? That doesn't really affect my thoughts. I just thought I mentioned that. Whether it's a good or bad thing is up for debate. So then Needle Mouse finally stops the fake sun, and so Sonic goes through this level where you just fly, and then Sonic and Needle Mouse go to confront Infinite one last time in a totally not repeated boss battle. And Sonic gives us another inspirational speech about friendship, and then Infinite leaves. Yeah, that's it. That's it for everyone. It's all he does. He's never seen again. So then we get to Iron Fortress, which was the only Classic Sonic level I hated, because it was an auto-scroller, and I felt like this was the only one where Classic Sonic's physics were broken. But of course, we make it, and then we get to the final actual level, Final Judgment, the final partner level. So Sonic and Needle Mouse go inside the base and then just do some quick steps and a double boost. Yeah, this level's all automation. Really packing up that great level design. So then Eggman reveals his final grand finale plan, which is his Death Egg robot, which looks nothing like a Death Egg robot. and it's revealed that there's more clones of everyone, even Infinite himself. Don't worry, we will talk about how this destroys Infinite. So then we get into the final boss. The first phase was just an earlier boss again. The second phase was okay, was at least original, and the third phase was just me doing the same thing 7 times. We pull a triple boost, and we beat him up. Classic Sonic goes home. We watch credits for like 10 minutes, of which we cannot skip. Nino Mouse reveals that she has to go home. Rouge says this.
You did good out there. It's not like you just waited till the last minute to come in and act all cool, saving the day.
Literally, this whole game, everyone was aware that they did nothing. I'll go more into this later. So then, Needle Mouse and Sonic part ways. The Sonic runs, and Needle Mouse dies. That was my experience with Sonic Forces. Now it's time to talk about how awful this game truly is!
I am not weak.
Like I said before, I feel like I hate this game more than anyone. And now that I finally played it for myself, I can confirm that this is one of the worst video games of all time. But as with all games, we must split this into 3 segments: presentation, gameplay, and story. Let's start with the least bad but still really awful of the 3, presentation. Now, as horrible, as awful, as stupid as this game is, there are admittedly a few bangers in here. The rest of it just kinda blends together. Listen to a few examples. Sonic's instruments just use the same instruments over and over and over again. Meanwhile, Needle Mouse's songs are even worse. They're just these cringe-worthy raps about friendship, I think. Just listen. Yeah, this is certainly awful. Classic Sonic's music, I actually think is not too bad. Maybe it's because I have a bit of bias for Genesis music. Now on to the graphics. Yeah, this game looks awful. Not only are the colors just a whole bunch of oranges and reds and blacks, yeah, but also the game just looks unfinished. Sonic doesn't have an idle animation, Classic Sonic doesn't have an idle animation, of course Needle Mouse doesn't have an idle animation. The short amount of levels don't help with the presentation being super boring at times, and all the cool stuff is just automated because screw actually doing this stuff. Seriously, I could go on, but this game just looks dead inside and lacking life. I might as well just go as far as to say it kinda looks like The Lion King 2019. They're both extremely soulless.
I am not weak.
To to start off the gameplay, say it with me everyone, the levels in Sonic Forces are too short! Yay, congratulations, you figured out this game's most notorious flaw. Yeah, it's no surprise to anyone that the levels in this game are really short and really easy because you do literally nothing. Take for example Final Judgment, the last actual level. What do you do here? You quick step, you attack these things, you double boost, and that's it. That's all you do. There's literally nothing here, and this is the last actual level. And even before that, in Sonic levels, you just boost. In Needle Mouse's levels, you just use the best whisk button for that level. Classic Sonic levels, while still bad, at least required me to think, which is why I thought they were at least slightly better, but they were still bad because this is Sonic Forces level design we're talking about. It's garbage. And I'm honestly surprised no one mentions this flaw. Both Sonic and Needle Mouse's homing attack, sometimes they won't lock on despite the radical popping up. This happened to me a lot. For example, in the Death Egg Sonic level, sometimes it wouldn't work when I tried to use the alternate route, so I had no choice but to take a different route, which was stupid. And other times they just give you the easy route and you don't even have to try, it's just right in front of you. So yeah, it's no surprise that the gameplay in Sonic Forces is absolutely flawed. But then we have arguably the worst flaw of this game. The story. There is one word to describe the story in this game. Nostalgia pandering. That's it. That's all this game is. Nostalgia pandering. That's all it wanted to do. It's always just, hey guys, remember the classic games? We have classic Sonic and Green Hill and Chemical Planet Death Egg. Or, hey adventure fans, remember Chaos? Remember Shadow? Remember Metal Sonic? Remember Silver? And Boost fans, hey, remember Zavik? Remember the boosting? Remember the whisk buttons? That is all it wants to do. The story is awful due to it both being really dumb and really underwhelming. It's dumb due to all the abilities the Phantom Ruby has, or characters' motivations constantly changing. And it's underwhelming due to half the time we don't even get a boss with characters. They just die in one hit. You don't get to fight Chaos. You don't get to fight Shadow. You just fight Zavik and Metal Sonic, the two lamest choices. Now let's go over every character one at a time. Sonic is just friendship is good, and that's it. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's always been doing this, but the amount of times he does it in this game is just stupid. And when he says friends, he means the one friend that is helping him, which you can literally just make it look like another Sonic. So the only person that's helping Sonic is Sonic, and there's also other Sonic. That's all that helps him. Classic Sonic has no reason to be here, and not only that, I always forget he's in this game due to how barely he's in it. He's really not in this game all that much. He shows up, attacks Chaos, teams up with Tails, goes to the Resistance, and then leaves. That's it. That's all Classic Sonic does. He does literally nothing in this stupid game. Tails is arguably the most notorious example with that Chaos cutscene. Yeah, remember this thing?
Sorry, I wasn't smart enough. Whoa, Chaos! Sonic, help me!
Yeah, again, Tails fought Chaos before, so why is he cowering? This is an active insult to anyone who loved Adventure 1, including myself, so this is a slap in my face. But even after that, Tails he's not only cowardly, he also just does literally nothing in this whole game. He does occasionally show us information, but that's about it. He's not even in the big war scene. I think you're starting to notice a pattern here. Knuckles does nothing. He's a commander. He created the stupidest plan ever that killed a good majority of their troops. And then he just does one attack in the big war scene. Shadow, once again, he does nothing. Even though he is the major cause of the game's events, after that, he just does nothing. He kicks Shadow Faker, and then he does an attack in the big war scene, then he just does nothing. Silver could have been good with that one line.
Does anyone but you believe your lies?
But even though he says that great line, what he does after is just fly around Infinite and then bump into him for about 10 seconds. And then he, once again, does one attack in the big war scene and then nothing else. The Chaotix do nothing. They are just here because we need a bunch of more Sonic characters, I guess, even if they do nothing. They do one attack in the big war scene and that's it. Amy, again, does nothing despite the fact that she's supposed to be the brains of this operation. And then the other members of Team Dark do nothing. Rouge does nothing. She does one thing in the war scene. She talks to Shadow in episode Shadow, that's about it. Omega, he went from being cool to not cool because all he does is shoot at Infinite. Yeah, and finally, Eggman, he's just nothing in this game. He doesn't feel serious at all. And that's about everyone. Yeah, you can notice the pattern here. Everyone just does one thing with the exception of Sonic or Eggman or Needle Mouse. Which, let's talk about the two new characters, which somehow they get more screen time and assassinate all the characters. And one of them isn't even a character. Let's start by talking about the easier of the two. Infinite. Infinite is the lamest villain ever. He's just a wannabe Mephiles. Comparing him to Mephiles or Flowey, yeah, it's tragic. Because remember that cutscene with Shadow vs. Infinite? His whole motivation is the fact that he got bullied by Shadow and that he is not weak. That's it. That is his whole motivation for doing what he does. That's it. That's all he does. This is laughable. This is insanity. There is no way everyone looked at this and like, yeah, this is acceptable. Let's release this cutscene to the world. Seriously, give me Chris Thorndike, Elise, Omo Chow, Big the Cat. Give me all of them over Infinite. Infinite, he wants you to treat him as a joke. Every time I look at this cutscene, I may be laughing on the outside, but I am depressed on the inside, considering we're meant to take this guy seriously. This laughable Mephiles wannabe, we're meant to take him seriously. Even excluding that cutscene, Infinite's just boring. Like, really, really boring. He's loyal to Eggman. Not even Metal Sonic was loyal to Eggman in Sonic Heroes, but Infinite, he has the powers of a god, and yet he just chooses to be with Eggman anyway. And let's not forget, at the end of the game, it's revealed that clones of Infinite were made, making him entirely useless. Infinite was all for nothing. There was no point to him, considering they could just make clones of him anyway. And they treat it off as nothing. And then let's talk about Needle Mouse. You know what? Let's just call this the Avatar so this will make sense. Now, the Avatar, this sounds pretty cool. Putting you into the story with all these Sonic characters. This sounds great. You interacting with all these different characters. You fighting along with them. Too bad you're the one doing all the work that isn't any of the Sonics. Literally, you do all the work. You get all the glory. You overshadow everyone. It's all you. You do all the work. Everyone else does nothing. I would talk more about the Avatar, but the Avatar isn't really a character outside of them cowering from Infinite, even though they should be doing the opposite, and them having a kind of arc despite them not even having any dialogue. It just feels out of place for them to not have any dialogue. As a matter of fact, the way they look just feels out of place as well. It just, they stick out like a sore thumb. And that wraps up my thoughts on Sonic Forces. Let's now conclude this. Sonic Forces is one of the worst video games of all time. It's the worst Sonic game of all time. The more I look at this game, the more I really just don't want 06 to get this much hate. Yes, 06 is broken. Yes, 06 has a stupid story. But it tried. Its story was at least ambitious and not nostalgia pandering. It had good ideas. It had a great soundtrack. Its passion. It was all there. Forces has no passion. There is no love. And they market it as to be something grand, and we were lied to the entire time. And this took 5 years to make. I expect an apology from 06, and I expect more hate to go to Sonic Forces so that Sega and Sonic Team never make a game like this ever again. This concludes the second topic of the OC saga. Stay tuned for Sonic.exe 3.0.